Hello and welcome to another tutorial from CamiPaige Boutique. I'm Brooke Tannehill and today I'm going to show you how I made this acrylic blank beaded keychain. As always, all the products I use will be listed in the description box below, and you may even find a coupon code or two that saves you some coin. Also, come join our exclusive Facebook group where you could take advantage of upcoming freebies and giveaways that you aren't going to want to miss. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to switch it up a little bit. So this is an engraved acrylic blank from CamiPaige Boutique, and these came to be because I am just not a fan of decal day, and cutting the small vinyl pieces for these acrylic blanks and the keychains or the badge reels just was not my forte. So these blanks come already engraved, and so I'm going to show you how I glitter these from start to finish. So all I did was I removed the paper backing of the acrylic blank, and this is the back side of it, and lightly sanded it, sprayed it with alcohol, and now I'm spreading on the glitter for the background color of this keychain. For the back, I start with about 7.5 milliliters of Peduo UV resin. I will link it down in the description. And then I just cover the top of the UV resin. So like in the little medicine cup, I just cover the entire top of the UV resin. And this is Gumdrop from Peachy Olive Glitters. And all I do is I just take a spreading stick and just kind of ice the back of the acrylic blank like a cookie. So just taking my time to make sure every nook and cranny is covered. And you really want to make sure that you're getting to the edge of the acrylic blank, but not going over the edge, because then you just get uneven areas and it's just harder to remove. So you just want to make sure that you're taking your time, getting everything covered, and then just really trying to be careful not to get the UV resin over the edge. If you do, it's not a big deal. I have a way to cover it. But the reason why I love this brand of UV resin is you just torch it after it's applied, and it has amazing self-leveling properties that you don't get with a lot of other brands of the UV resin. I cured this 3 times for 60 seconds and it was completely dry. And then I am flipping over the acrylic blank, and we're going to start with the engraved sections on the front. So I am using Posca acrylic markers. I love these. I think that these are amazing quality and I get the best coverage. But what I'm doing is I am just coloring in the different sections of the acrylic blank. And so what you can't tell, because this is a little bit sped up, is you actually want to dab the paint into the sections and not just color. So that way you get enough paint to kind of fill in the crevices and you get nice, great coverage. So I started with red for the hearts, then I came in with pink for the X's, and then purple for the circles, just to make sure that I got a really great Valentine's Day palette going throughout this acrylic blank. So you can see there that I'm really like dabbing the color in and then just making sure that I've got everything covered, so that way we're laying a great base for the glitter that we will be putting into these different sections. I finished this off with black for the crisscross that you see here, and I just love this color combination. I think it's amazing, and really it could be used year-round and not just for Valentine's Day. Once I was happy with the coverage, I set this aside and I let the paint fully dry. And this is important before you remove the front cover of the paper, because otherwise the paint smears and gets everywhere. Now, if it happens, it's not that big of a deal. You can just spray some alcohol on a lintless paper towel or rag and just wipe it off and it comes right off. But I like to prevent that from happening. So I just let this fully dry before I remove the paper. Then to remove the paper, all you're going to do is just kind of lift up that corner and just pull it gently. It comes off pretty easy and it's kind of satisfying, so I love this part of the process. So you're just going to pull it off, and then I just use my X-Acto knife to pull off the other sections. You can also use duct tape if you want to, and it just kind of pulls everything off at once. But since these were such big pieces of the paper, I just didn't worry about it, and I just used my knife because I think it's a little bit faster. After everything is good and dry, I got my precision bottle tool that you can see right there, and I put a little bit of Mod Podge into the bottle. And what I'm doing is I want to start with my darkest color first. So kind of when you're thinking about if you're doing the double-sided tape sheets or any kind of layering of glitter, you usually want to start with your the darkest color first so that you don't contaminate your other ones. So I am just coming in and I'm starting with the crisscross section right there. So I'm just kind of squirting in a little bit of the glue, and I know this is gonna sound super dirty, but you're just going to let the tip do the work. So you're gonna squirt in a little bit of glue. I would start kind of in the cross sections and then let the tip kind of pull the glue throughout the engraved sections. So by doing this, what you're doing is you're preventing the glue from overflowing the engraved sections. So I am just like squirting in a little bit of the glue and then just using the tip to kind of spread it out. You can see there that I didn't do that at first, and that's what caused some of the issues. But then I am coming in with Batman from Peachy Olive Glitters, and you can see that it just gets into those engraved sections perfectly and just adds that little bit of sparkle. Now, because the Mod Podge dries pretty quickly, you are gonna have to do this in little sections. So that's why I did the kind of first stripe first, and now I'm just doing kind of like the quarter of the square, I guess you could say. And I'm just kind of coming in and just moving throughout the crisscross pattern. Now, I really would emphasize, you saw me use the brush before the Mod Podge was dry, and don't do that. I learned my lesson the hard way. Let it fully dry and then use the chip brush to remove the glitter, and that way you're not pulling any of the glitter out of the engraved sections where you just laid it down. So I got a little bit impatient, but just take your time and let this fully dry before you move into the next color. I promise you will thank me later, but it just makes the process a little bit easier. And with the Mod Podge, it dries so quickly that you're literally maybe waiting 20 minutes and then you can move on. So here I waited for it to dry and I got the chip brush to get rid of all the black glitter. And now it's time to move on to the hearts. Now, I know it's debatable whether red or purple is the darker color, but just from previous experience, I know that red glitter for some reason gets everywhere. So I'm just starting with the hearts this time. And I'm just, again, using the same technique as before, just dabbing in some of the Mod Podge and then using the tip of the precision bottle to kind of spread it around. This is Sookie from Peachy Olive Glitters. This is really one of my favorite reds of all time. It's just got such great sparkle to it and it's got a nice consistent color. So this is definitely one of my go-tos and I highly recommend you snag it for your glitter collection. But I'm just going to make my way throughout the hearts section and just kind of fill it in until I've got the coverage I want and then top it off with that beautiful sparkle. I'm just going to continue to fill in the hearts until I'm happy with them, let them dry for about 30 minutes, and then also brush off all of the excess glitter. And then it's time to move into the next section. Now it is time for purple. So just like we did the other shapes, I'm just going to come in and add some of the Mod Podge into the engraved section. Now, Mod Podge dries clear, so don't worry about any of that white glue showing. It's going to disappear. I also chose to work mostly with metallics, so it's going to cover it up anyway. But when we get to the pink, I'll show you it's more of an iridescent, so it still covers great. But I also like the white glue for this so I can really see where it's going throughout the process and know whether or not I've got the coverage that I want in each of the sections. So the O's were giving me some trouble. The glue was overfilling, but you can just wipe it off just like you see me doing there, and it disappears quickly. And if you even have the sections overflow a little bit, you can use a dental pick and it comes right off. So don't worry if you make a mistake, it's easy to fix. But then once I had all of the glue covered, I came in with Belieber from Peachy Olive Glitters, and I just love this color combination. Let that dry, then I removed the excess glitter, and finally it was time for the pink. So just like we did with the other sections, I am just using Mod Podge with my precision tip bottle, and I am just coming in with the X's. This was kind of the easiest shape to do. I thought it was going to give me a little bit of trouble, but it didn't. So I just kind of came in, filled in each of these super cool letters, and then once I was happy with it, I topped it off with Wednesdays, also from Peachy Olive Glitter. It is a beautiful iridescent pink, and I thought it was the perfect kind of pop of color to bring this entire look together. I let that dry for about 30 minutes, then wiped off the excess, and then it was time to top off all of our beauties. So now that all of the glitter is removed and it's fully dry, we are going to seal in all the beauties. So I'm just going to put about a quarter size of UV resin on the top of the surface and then just kind of ice it like a cupcake or a cookie. And so take your time. You want to make sure that the entire front is covered because it's going to really seal in the beautifulness and then also give your acrylic blank some more rigidity. Is that a word? Make it more rigid. So I just take my time trying to get the entire blank covered. Once I get that good coat on it, I am going to hit it with a torch just to remove any of the bubbles. You really want to make sure to move your torch quickly because if you leave it in one spot, it will torch or burn the UV resin. So I'm going to do one coat for 60 seconds twice under my UV light, and then I'm going to do a second coat just to make sure that everything is good and sealed in, and I have the entire blank covered. Now it is time to add our beads and hardware to our keychain. So I'm going to start off by cutting 16 inches of this stretchy string from Thingamabeads. And I actually learned this process from the owner of Thingamabeads, who is Andrea Reed with OMG Tumblers and Tees. So I will link all of these products down in the description below. But what you're going to do is you're going to cut 16 inches of the stretchy string, fold it in half, and then fold it over on itself like you see right there to attach the first part, which is the acrylic blank. Then I am choosing 3 beads. Now, these are all from a mix of collections from Thingamabeads. I will list them all in the description below, but I just chose 3 beads that really kind of coordinated with the color scheme we were going on. And then this is also a lobster clasp that is from Thingamabeads. So everything you see here is from there. And then I'm going to string them all on, and then I'm going to come back with the first bead that you see there. So you're going to go through the first bead, then you're going to wrap the string around the string between the first bead and the second bead, tie it off, and then you're going to make 2 regular knots on one side and then 1 knot on the back side. Trim it off to where both ends are the same length, and then you're going to go through the second bead, just like you see there. I actually cut my nails off right after this because they drove me absolutely nuts. It made this process harder, but you're going to string both ends of the string through that second bead and and do the same process that you did before. So right here, you're just going to come around the second bead just like that, and then tie it off. So go through the loop right there. And then you are going to tie it twice again, just like a normal knot like you start your shoes. And then you're going to flip it over and then tie it off a second time. And then you are good to trim the edges and you are good to go. So you get a little bit of stretchiness and it's absolutely perfect. I wanted to make these keychains a little more bougie, so I cut 4 inches of this Valentine's Day ribbon that I got from Michaels, and I am just going to tie it around the top of where the acrylic blank meets the first bead. I'm going to angle the ends just like you see there, but I just tied it like a normal knot twice, and then I am just leveling or evening out each of the pieces of ribbon just to add a little more detail, and then this baby was done. I love the way it turned out. I think it is super cute, and I can't wait to put this on my daughter's book bag for Valentine's Day. I hope this tutorial inspires you, and I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions about any of the steps or information, please feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to help. As always, thank you for watching. It really means a lot. If you like this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. You can also ring the bell so you're notified of all future cup making goodies. Thank you again. I love you guys. Bye.